Welcome to the Michigan Travel Show, a kaleidoscope of stories about the people, places, and events that shape our great state.
I'm Jack Berry, and I'm here at the Eagle Crest Resort, Eastern Michigan University, looking over the beautiful golf course out here. And we're talking with Tom Durant, who is head man of Ports of Call. And one of his ports that I have to throw in this first, you're going to talk about Jack Botts. Jack Botts also had a golf course, Marsh Ridge, with a heck of a good restaurant in Gaylord. But you tell me that he was a boater.
He was a very big boater, as a matter of fact, much bigger than mine. I believe he had an ocean. I believe it was an ocean yacht, and it was the largest ocean yacht that had been built during that particular time period, and Jack owned it. They had a place, and I wish I could remember the complex down there in Florida. It was down there in Florida someplace. It was a very exclusive place, and they advertised in my boating magazine, so I should have brought it along with me. But anyway, we had not only a good experience with the golf course, but also to see his place down in Florida. And I was just telling off camera that I went into this little store and wanted to buy a candy bar or a bottle of water or something, and standing in front of me was Kathy Lee Gifford. So,
you were in Star Country.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I was starstruck. So, anyway, the golf show had come to an end, and things started to get a little better in the economy, and so I thought it was time to not only buy a boat, but to take it around the lake. So I bought it in Detroit, and its home port is South Haven, Michigan. And I stopped in every port along the way. Geez, this is really fun. Maybe a boater would be interested in seeing this kind of a thing. And that was the seed to start Great Lakes Ports of Call, which was on the air for 6 years. Our very first show was the Port of South Haven, Michigan. Surprise, surprise. And our host was Foster Brown, who is he has Internet Advisory even to this day on WJR, and he did a great job too. We were very lucky in having great hosts for all of these shows, but we did some 42 shows all over the Great Lakes.
The names. Give us the names and how.
Presqu'île. We did the tall ships in South Haven.
I mean, where would you start out, and then you went from port to port?
Well, actually, what we did, Sea Ray, we had some good sponsors. Finally, I had figured out how to sell sponsorships. and our first year we had Sea Ray. The second year, Sea Ray. Ray Marine came on board. We had national sponsors. They wanted us, to get on the sports channels that are out there. And I said, with our network, we had a network larger than the golf show did, and I've always felt that if you create something that's of interest to the viewer, they don't care what station it's on, as long as they enjoy the program, and that seemed to be what happened on PBS. Well, some of the ports that we went to was Erie, Pennsylvania was one of them. That was probably one of our biggest markets, and one of the greatest experiences that I've had was to sail on the tall ship Niagara. She is a three-masted, I believe it's a bark. To me, it's the most beautiful tall ship on the Great Lakes. She was responsible for us winning the War of 1812. Oliver I could go into this history lesson, but I won't. Okay, well, Oliver Hazard Perry transferred onto I believe it was onto the tall ship, and that was the way he won the war. But anyway, the ship, they took us out sailing in the middle of Lake Erie. And then they put myself and the cameraman on their painter, and they sailed away from us. And they started firing the cannons. And I mean, you talk about thunder. It was really an experience. And to this day, on my fireplace, I have a picture that someone had taken of us. Yeah, right. As a matter of fact, I do. Yeah. But it was a very industrial city. But they had begun to turn it around, and they had interesting people there that knew how to get the money they needed to transform into a really neat destination.
Well, they have a good park there, and they've got a baseball team. The Tigers have a baseball team there.
Mackinac Island, of course, we did that with Len Trankina, who was host of the Visitor and Convention Bureau. Needless to say, that was a fun show. But what we did was, because of the time frame, and I was paying this crew to be with me doing these shows, we would actually travel by car, and then Sea Ray would supply us with a boat that we would do our port tour with, or we would get a local knowledge person that would give us a port tour of the various things. And then it was, I called it the destination, it was a travelogue of destination. Anyway, one of the things that she did was she climbed all the way up into the crow's nest, and her assignment was to get the firing of the cannon when it went off, because we were out on this painter, okay, trying to film it from out there. A painter is a small boat that they use to come ashore on during the old days, or even today. They'll anchor out because the draft or the harbor is too shallow for them to anchor, and then it's a service boat that brings them back.
It's their Uber, is that it? Something like that.
Yeah, exactly right. So, but she climbed up all the way, and first time the cannon went off, she jumped and missed the entire shot. And she missed the first two because she was climbing up to the top. So I always tease her about that. Yeah. The other one that was an interesting experience was up at, is it Grand Marais where the pictured rocks are? Munising. That was just the strangest thing I had ever. Have you ever been in a seiche or know what it is? A seiche.
No, I know sagebrush, but
Well, basically what it is, it's like a tide that never happens on the Great Lakes, and it's because of a storm that is coming in so fast and so furious that it's pushing the water up into the head of a. Well, we were getting ready to go out to do. Well, we were actually in. This may not be the right port. I think this might have been Grand Island. So it might have been Munising. Anyway, we were waiting to go on a tour over to Grand Island, and the captain said, "No, we're not going. There's a storm coming, and it's a real zinger." But he says, "You're not to get off the boat. We're going to stay tied up at the dock." So we did. And to watch the water level come up 3 feet over the top of the dock, and rain like crazy, and the wind blew like crazy. I couldn't believe it. It was really kind of a scary experience. Yes.
Lake Superior is strong. Now, did you hit all of the 5 Great Lakes on the ports of call?
Pretty much, yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. There was, some of the sponsors wanted us to expand it into Florida and California, but there was just no way with the budget that we had that we could afford to do that. And even then, it was a stretch. But when we did Put-in Bay, Sea Ray just gave us this gorgeous. Oh my gosh, I was in heaven. I really wished it came around the corner, and I was in radio contact with the captain. as you're coming around the corner into Put-in Bay, and I said, "Oh my gosh, that's our boat out there coming in." It was a 42-footer fly bridge, and it was a real captain. Had epaulets and a Sea Ray cap, and Frank. I'm not sure of his name, but anyway, he took us around to the various places in Put-in Bay, and that was really fun. And then when we went to smaller ports, like we did the Sheboygan.
Right up at the top of the Mitt.
Yeah, that was also an interesting experience, because you can start out, you lock up into the channel, and I think it's like a chain of lakes up there, and it was just gorgeous. So I love the Upper Peninsula, or any place north of Bay City or wherever. It's just a fun place.
Well, how about over on the west side, Ludington, Manistee, places like that?
Well, Ludington we did, and we were fortunate enough to travel over on the Badger. At least twice, to go over to the Maritime Museum in Manitowoc, Wisconsin, and part of that show was, of course, Ludington and the Badger. We are probably one of the only film crews that was allowed in the boiler room, because that is a coal burner, and it was hot. It was really hot, and they don't allow that anymore, because I just read a story about that where you actually have to be shoveling coal in order to be in there.
Okay, Tom, you said that Jack Bott's boat was about, I don't know, maybe as long as this porch, maybe even longer than that, 100 yards or whatever. But you've been on something bigger than Jack's boat, is that correct?
Just a little bit, yeah. Probably put 20 Jack Bott boats on this one. I'm a very proud father to have a daughter in the U.S. Navy, and the opportunity that came up to do Friends and Family Day on her aircraft carrier. And so I thought, wow, this is definitely an experience I want to participate in. And she asked my son, who also is an avid boater, and we flew down to Norfolk, Virginia. And I thought, they had releases, and we signed the releases, and I thought we were going on board this aircraft carrier, and I was very, very excited about this, because when you get up close to this thing, you just have no idea how big those monsters are. So I thought, wow, this is really going to be great to be able to go on board, and then we'd be on our merry way. I didn't realize that this involved a trip out to sea, 26 miles offshore. So hallelujah.
Now, what aircraft carrier is this?
We got a picture. And by the way, just as an off-camera comment, one of the pictures that's on that disc, it will look like it's dark, but please play it. It's a video. It is an F-18 Super Hornet on a sortie that she was on, and it was a live sortie where they had all lights off, and all of a sudden you hear the jet engines. Okay, and then green lights appear on the side of the plane, and then all you see are two funnel things shooting off the end of the deck. So.
Well, Well, we've been talking with Tom Durant, who was last port of call was Norfolk, and a little trip on the United States Navy's aircraft carrier Roosevelt.
All right, thanks. Thanks, Jack.